Hello, 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 everyone. Just give me one moment to get my camera ready, and then we'll bring the candidate up. Y'all just give me 1 second. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. I hope everyone's having a great. It is still Women's Month, so we have pretty pink woman's background. Hello, Miss Erica. How are you? Hi, everybody. Make sure y'all tapping that screen and sharing this out to everyone. Let's get the likes up so that we get on the FYP page. Tonight, we will be talking to Jonathan Bradner, who is running for Ohio House seat. So not a federal seat, but a House seat, state seat in District 29. I'm doing well. It's temperatures trying to come up in the DMV. So yeah, it's good. Everything's good. So let's welcome Mr. Jonathan so we can get this party started, right? Y'all want this party started quickly, right? Some of y'all young folks don't know nothing about that. Y'all come on in, tap that screen. All right, Mr. Jonathan, I sent you an invite to come up. If you're on a computer, it probably won't let you come up. You have to be on a phone, I believe, or a tablet. But if you're on a computer, it won't let you come up. However, just hop on your phone or your tablet, and we should be able to connect you. Welcome, everyone. Make sure you're tapping that screen. I know, Erica, the weather, it can't make up its mind if it want to be hot or cold, rainy or sunny. It can't make up its mind. I'm over it. But that's the spring for you. That is the spring for you. Again, y'all, make sure y'all tapping that screen. Let's get them likes up to about 2K. Hello, Scorpion. How are you doing today? Hi, everybody. Come on in. Tap. And share. Make sure you're sharing this out. The best way to share it out so we can see those shares down there is to hold down the screen here and then hit send. That's what I sent the invite, Jonathan. But like I said, if you're on a computer, it won't let you up. You have to be on a phone or tablet. I sent it out again. All right, there you go. Welcome. And when you hit the camera, you just hit save so that we can see your lovely face. There you are. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. Let me send this out.
Thank you.
All right. Just want to make sure, like I said, if you hold down this screen over here, you'll get a little box that come up. Share this out to your friends, to your followers, your people supporting you. Let's send this to a few groups I'm in. All right, and send it to these folks here. All right. Okay, so I sent this out. Well, how are you today, Jonathan?
I'm wonderful.
You wonderful.
I've been so busy, but spiritually I am really good.
That's awesome.
Really
That's
good.
awesome. You decided to jump into this race now, huh?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's been really interesting.
All right. Well, Jonathan, let me introduce myself. I am Melanie, Buttermel. Call me any of those things. I'm all of them. And I am with Our Vote Counts. Our Vote Counts is a nonpartisan coalition of citizens from diverse states and backgrounds, united by a shared commitment to empowering voters, promoting candidates who stand for integrity, inclusion, accountability in these upcoming elections. Is that you?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
so.
Now, through voter education, candidate outreach, and community engagement, we support leaders who are ready to serve the people, not special interests. By working across state lines and elevating local and national issues, we aim to increase voter turnout, inform public dialogue, and build momentum for lasting change. Our vote count is more than just a name. It's a promise, it's a movement, and a rallying cry for democracy. Together, we are shaping the future, one informed vote at a time. So again, I welcome you all here tonight. We are talking with Jonathan Bradner, who is running for a state house seat in Ohio, District 29. A little bit I've learned about Jonathan. He has lived in the Northwest Ohio, Hamilton County region for most of his life and is running for, like I said, a seat in the state legislature. He grew up working on a pig farm. A pig farm. That's scary to me. Which taught him the value of hard work
It
and
was
community.
scary. It was scary.
After working his way up from entry-level jobs in the hospitality industry to leadership roles in operations and corporate social responsibility, he later entered full-time ministry. Okay, so he's a pastor, y'all. He returned to school to earn a certificate in pastoral leadership and a master's degree in ethics and justice. Jonathan has served on the board of both local and international nonprofits and advocates for dignity and equity in public life. He is running for the state representative to address issues like fair wages, healthcare access, and affordable housing. He currently lives with his wife, Molly, and their pets, and enjoys hiking, camping, and traveling. Did I get that right?
You got it right. You got it right. I
No
will
children
say, just
yet?
no
Okay.
children. The kids at church are plenty for me, to be honest. But and I will say that I only worked on the pig farm for a summer, so I didn't grow up as a pig farmer. But I worked on a pig farm for a season, and it was scary, and it was messy, and it was dirty. But I was also like 12, so
Yes.
whatever I could
Well,
get for a few bucks.
I would go visit family in South Carolina when I was young, and they had pigs that we would have to serve slop. And I was like, no, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to go out. It was like, no, they scary. So
Yeah.
I commend you for that, even at 12, doing it. Good job. So your current incumbent is Cindy Abrams, who is a Republican and has served in that seat since 2019. So it's time for her to get up.
It's time. It is time.
All right. Now, Ohio's House District 29 lies entirely in Hamilton County. And in 2020, the population was about 120,000 people. Your district includes parts of Cincinnati, surrounding suburbs like Colerain,
Coleraine. Yep. You got it.
Colerain, Harrison, Miami, and Whitewater. Y'all have a Miami in Ohio?
Oh yeah, we have a couple. This one, the Miami that's in my district is an unincorporated little
Town.
municipality there. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Um, let's see. All right. So the way we do things around here, Jonathan, is we're gonna tackle 5 topics,
Okay.
I'm going to ask you about 2 or 3 questions each, depending on how your answers are. And in between those 5 topics, I'm going to do what we call rapid fire. And these are quick answer questions, short answer questions that we're going to answer rapidly. So, welcome again to the show. Now, tell me why you decided. I read a little bit. You said you want to talk about tackle issues like fair wages, healthcare access, and affordable housing. But what has really given you the courage to do this? What makes you think you are the best person for this job?
I love the way you framed that, the courage, because that's what it's what it takes.
It does.
If you're going to do this for real, I've learned that. I've learned that with all of our security cameras on the house. I've learned that with going into rooms that are uncomfortable. I've learned that. But I mean, it's a faith thing first and foremost. Like, let's just throw it out there. It is a faith thing for me. In fact, it's because I'm a church pastor that I'm running for office. Pastors are uniquely engaged with their communities, and if anybody knows what their local communities need the most, it's going to be your clergy, hopefully, if they're doing it right anyway. And so it was really at the beginning of last year, early 2025, well, through the first 6 months or so of this new DC administration, our church, my office, my phone, we fielded more calls for mutual aid, which is things like rent and utility assistance to food and everything in between. And about a couple months in, I realized that I had received more calls for mutual aid in those first few months of 2025, thanks to HUD housing cuts and Columbus trying to do the exact same thing that's happening in DC, than I had in the entire previous 6 years of my ministry combined. And if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. But it goes deeper than that. I thank God and special blessings upon the Black church, because in February of last year, I was blessed to be invited into a room of entirely Black clergy. I was the only white person in the room, and it was a gathering to mobilize and activate against the cancellations of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it was in that space where Reverend Damon Lynch III, who's a renowned activist in the area,
is he running? I believe you had him on the show on here.
His son is running.
Yes, we had his son on here. Yes, we did.
Yes, absolutely. So his dad, we're talking about his dad. He gave the clergy in that room a list of about 10 things that we could be doing right now. And of that list, things like food, storage, emergency storage for folks, because grocery prices are going to get out of hand, we're on those lists. And sure enough, our church now has a emergency food pantry now, where you don't need a license, or you don't need to live in this zip code. We don't have hours. You just call the church and we'll find a way to get you the food. So we did things like that. But then one on that list was also to run for office. We need people to run for office. And it's hard not to just call it a calling in that moment. A real feeling, a real weight came upon me, that I thought maybe that's me. And so it's not entirely foreign for folks in my tradition. I come from the United Church of Christ denomination, which is a politically engaged denomination, has been since the 50s when it came together. We have offices on Capitol Hill. It's the only non-political office on Capitol Hill, or non-government building on Capitol Hill. It's right next to the Supreme Court. And so the United Church of Christ as a denomination has been involved in things like civil rights. Martin Luther King Jr. called the United Church of Christ when the southern states were blocking out coverage of what was happening If anything related to civil rights came on, the local channels would just black it out.
Wow.
And the United Church of Christ still does have an arm of media justice, and I guess we were the only ones that did, and that's why we got the call. And so we fought in the Supreme Court to have full coverage in public, in the the ABCs of it all, and won. And so the UCC has been a part of that ever since then. And gay rights, gay marriage, we had lawyers involved in that fight as well. And so it's not entirely foreign for a pastor. Maybe it is for a pastor to decide to run for office, right, but for us to use our faith as a public witness.
Yes, which brings me to the point of, do you think you can separate church and state?
So it's a fantastic question. So I believe that my faith instructs me how to give water to the thirsty, not how to legislate other people's bodies, and not how to force my religion into public schools. It is obviously, you as a human being, you can't totally separate those two things. But I mean, there are rules and laws and regulations around how faith witness can be, I guess, enacted in legislature. So it has to be for the benefit of all people. So if somebody were to say that I believe that universal healthcare should exist, and I believe that because of my faith in God,
right?
That's actually legal. That is allowed. But it has to pass that test. There is a bar that it cannot only help this group of people. There are bars that has to cross.
Absolutely. Well, so you just said, and I had a different icebreaker question, because we like to ask an icebreaker question. I had a different one, but you just said thank you to the Black church. So my icebreaker question to you is, what is your favorite part of a Black church Sunday morning service?
Oh my gosh. It is just the fact that people are engaged at all. And I love my church. We're actually fairly diverse, but you get into a white church and you're like, you're preaching about salvation itself, and white folk are like, yeah, this is a nice sermon. And I'm like, did you not hear me? Right. You are called by your name.
And we like, yes.
Yeah. So that's what I love the most. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, do you have your own church? You pastor in your own church at this point?
Yes.
And where is that? Would you like to?
It's in St. Bernard, which is its own village within Cincinnati.
Okay. All right. So it's in St. Bernard for you Cincinnati folks out there. Go check out Pastor Jonathan Bradner. Okay. So Jonathan, our first topic we're going to do is about the economy. Okay. So Hamilton County median household income runs about $41,000 a year. That's kind of low. So the question is, what tax or workforce programs would you champion to increase the median household income?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's incredibly low because we also have a significant city in Hamilton County. I mean, Cincinnati is in Hamilton County. So $40,000 is wild. So before I say it, it all comes back to affordable housing, and it all comes back to wages. For some reason, the last couple of years, we stopped talking about living wages. I don't know what happened. I don't know if somebody else has any insight on why we just stopped talking about the living wage, because I remember when we were fighting for $12, and now $12 isn't going to get you nothing. It's up to 15, it's up to 20, So it starts with, we need to talk about living wages again. we have to talk about affordable housing, because especially in our county, they talk a big game about affordable housing. And I know some of these folks, and I know, but what they're talking about is 80% AMI, which is area median index. Let's get nerdy with it all.
Yeah.
For those of you who've never heard that term before, area median index. And so they build a lot of housing targeted towards 80% AMI. And frankly, that's like the wage of a nurse. And so we got to talk about the fact that a nurse's wage is low income, is at that 80% AMI. But we have to start talking about 30% AMI. How are we going to build public housing, or not? Well, how are we going to build affordable housing at that 30% AMI point? And so I'm just going now. I don't remember if that answers your question or not. I was
asking about
affordable housing programs.
I was asking about workforce programs that you could champion to increase that, like, or jobs. How do you plan on bringing jobs to Hamilton County or Ohio as a whole?
Well, I mean, it's affordability, because you can talk about economic development all you want, and you can make all the jobs you want, but it's not going to matter if you can't afford to live in Ohio. It's not going to matter if you can't afford to live in Cincinnati or Hamilton County. So until you tackle that, I mean, what workforce development are we really talking about here? And now it's escaping me, but we just cut the workforce development program, and the name of it is escaping me, but it happened maybe at the end of last year.
You said a workforce program?
Yeah. And it was all under the guise of, like, these are troubled young adults, and so there's a lot of baggage that comes with that. But troubled or not, it was some of their only hope.
As Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act.
That might have been the act. That's not the program name. Yeah.
Let's see. Workforce Pell launch, federal funding update. The WIOA. Okay. Raise concerns. Critical funding source. Okay, that's the funding for it. But it says over 2,400 layoffs expected in Ohio. But that was in 2024. Okay, that's some old news.
Yeah, I would have to look it up at this point.
But so they're instead of increasing funding for workforce programs, they are decreasing.
Oh yeah.
What are these politicians doing? This is why we're trying to get you in there, right?
Amen. Amen.
Now, another big thing is small businesses. Do you have any ideas of how you would like to provide funding to help more Ohio citizens get a small business going?
Yeah, so there are programs that we can actually divert funds from, and this is going to sound super anti-immigration, but it's not. So this is part of my knowledge from working in the hospitality industry. If somebody moves in from overseas and starts a company, they get, I want to say it's around $200,000 to start their own company. What happens though is that all you have to do is change the name to do that, and so there's no oversight or regulation, and it freezes all this money for anybody else who's doing a good faith to try to start a company or build a company. So there are funds that already exist that without oversight we're not able to free up, and so what will happen is you'll see a hotel owner just switch the name of the hotel over to a brother's name, and that will get them more money. And they do that over and over again.
Really? That's what?
Yeah.
And that's funny you say that. I had worked at um, it was a Hampton Inn. Was it a Hampton Inn? I believe it was a Hampton Inn when I started working there. We then changed to a Quality Inn. It is now a Roadway Inn. The same hotel owned by Patels. And now that you just gave me some information I did not know. So that's all they do. If you change the company, it's a brand new application
Yeah, if you change
and
the
brand new
ownership, yeah,
funding.
and it's somebody who doesn't currently, yeah, yeah. But again, I'm pro immigration through and through, but that's just like some way
But
behind the
wrong is
scenes stuff that
wrong,
people don't
Jonathan.
know.
Wrong is
Yeah,
wrong. You know,
wrong is wrong.
that's shit. That's sneaky. That is real sneaky.
Yeah.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about a livable wage. So currently, the um, the minimum wage in Ohio is. I thought I had that information here, but it doesn't look like I do. Um, but what do you think is a good livable wage for Ohio?
Uh, so I would say 20, but I mean, I will go for 15 if
Okay.
that means that we're actually willing to negotiate on it. But the fact that
15.
we can't even get 15 tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. I thought I did when I did with someone else the other day. Instead, it was 16 now, but that may have been just a different state. We talked to so
And
many
our
people.
minimum wage isn't as bad. I mean, it's over $10, so it's not as bad
Okay,
as a lot of places, but it's still not it. I mean,
right.
what
So
is that's
15 at the
what, twenty one
minimum,
thousand a year?
15 at the minimum, but you want to do 20 total. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. Now, I wanted to remind everyone that if you have any questions, you can request that or put the questions in the chat, and I will pose those questions to Jonathan, to Pastor Jonathan here. Jonathan, let's talk a little bit about the future of Ohio. Okay. So, according to state projections, nearly 1 in 4 Ohioans will be over the age of 60 by 2030. How should Ohio's House District 29 prepare for increased health care, pension, and senior service demands while maintaining funding for younger families?
Yeah, so I mean, it all begins. Thank you for acknowledging that because we have to help our seniors age with dignity, and um, I think it's way too easy for I'm a millennial for us to just hate on seniors for no reason or those that are aging, and it can't be that. It can't be that. Nor should seniors like be like, let's cut property taxes because I don't want to pay for schools. So like it has to go both ways, which is a real thing. Because we get a lot of seniors that don't have their kids are off, and so why do I have to still pay for this? So the generational warfare has to stop. What I would say is that with this is I cannot tell you how much is connected to the school funding model in Ohio. It is that bad. So Ohio ranks 45th in its share of public school funding. What that means, so when we get to affordability, when we get to programming for seniors or anybody else, is that local townships and municipalities have to over rely on property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Over 50% of our property taxes are going to public education. I believe it should be closer to 30% of our property taxes, and the rest of this should be a split between the state and the federal. But because we're over relying on property taxes, there's no relief. There's no relief in sight. I mean, they kind of do these like fringe bills that don't really help anybody at all. But so the area, the cost for the average house in my zip code is about $330,000.
Mm.
And I actually looked. So I'm going to pull this up because it is the number one enemy of the supermajority right now needs to be the Hamilton County auditor's website,
Oh,
because
wow.
you can go to, and I don't think I've heard it's not as good as other counties, but you can go to the Hamilton County's auditor website and you can type in your address and you can get a pie chart of exactly the breakup of where your property taxes are going.
Okay.
So let me find that real quick.
That's pretty transparent. Oh, that's a good thing.
She is amazing. Let's see here. So you're talking about $1,900 of property taxes if your house is at the average. $1,900 of your annual property taxes are going to public education. Now,
$1,900 a year out of my money is going to public schools, and yet you want to then give that money to people to go to private schools?
You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. But we're not even on that conversation yet. Like,
We're
we
not.
haven't even gotten there. So I had the numbers pulled up before, and then I was looking for that program that got cut. So anyway, that if you were to cut that back, you could save up to $800 on an average household a year if the state, if one program, if we just funded public education the way it is constitutionally mandated and required, you could save taxpayers up to $800. Now, let's negotiate from there. We want to talk about programs. Let's save each household $600 a year. You get $600 back. Let's put $200 back into some other programs.
Right.
All of this is from one area of broken taxation, of inequitable taxation. If we can fix the public school funding model, everything is downstream from that. It is wild how much is connected to it.
Wow. Yeah. So that does sound like something that, you definitely should go in there looking into. So by reducing the taxes that, households, have to pay, right? We can take some of that money to help with the health care and the pensions for the seniors. Like, okay, sound like a plan. Now, while, like I said, you get your citizens, your residents are getting up in age, but Ohio's population growth is under 3%, right? Compared to the double-digit growth in several other southern states. How will you position District 29 and Ohio to retain young professionals and prevent brain drain over the next decade?
Yeah, fantastic. Because the number one export in Ohio is not corn; it's young people. And that's what's slowing the growth. And young people are fleeing because there's no opportunity here. There's some in Columbus, but outside of Columbus, there's not a whole lot to look forward to. And all of that goes back to affordability. It's all affordability, and it's impossible not to make it a buzzword because everybody's talking about it right now. And welcome Democrats to the club. And I'm an endorsed Democrat. I say that as an endorsed Democrat, but welcome back to the conversation of affordability, everybody. Yeah. But there are a few things that are happening in Cincinnati that the state rep of 29 needs to know about. And Cincinnati is about to have a huge economic boom in about 10 to 20 years.
Okay.
Which somebody who's not going to be in if I get voted in now, I will not be in legislation then. So why do I need to care about it?
Is that a prediction or projection?
It's a projection. It's based off of, there are a few major projects that are happening in Cincinnati. One is the bridge. They are that dreaded Brent Spence Bridge that is the number one infrastructure problem in all of America. It's getting replaced in the next 10 years, and it's also expanding. So when the original bridge and highway was put in, it actually cut the west side where I'm at. It cut the entire west side of the city off. Not only did it gentrify, not only did it take like 7,000 houses away and leave people trying to find housing when they put it in, but just the highway itself completely cut off an entire population in half. It almost divided the city into a third completely, and you have to like go all the way around in this way just to get to the city. But with the new bridge that is being built, the state rep needs to be involved in bringing jobs with that bridge, equitable paying jobs to that bridge. But with that bridge project is corridors. They are trying to bring the west side back into Cincinnati. And with that is a huge opportunity of economic growth in District 29. But if I'm a good legislator, I'm not going to see it. I would be doing things now, making sure that our companies and our businesses are ready and that our workforce is ready for it now. And I will not get credit for it because it's going to happen. We won't see the actual economic impact until I'm gone.
Right.
So but we're also, they just finished up the convention center.
Okay.
There's a new arena. And we're trying to force the new arena to stay where the existing arena is so that there's no more gentrification going on, because Cincinnati is probably, and this is not anecdotally, is probably the most gentrified city in America. Like the lines are so clear. And so we're trying to keep the arena where the existing arena is. But with that, basically Cincinnati could become what Indianapolis is now, which Indianapolis is like Convention Center USA. If I have to go to Indianapolis for another convention, please don't make me do it. But they have built their whole infrastructure around that model. Okay. And Cincinnati has an opportunity to do that. And the economic impacts could be incredible. But somebody who's not in Cincinnati proper needs to be aware of that and working on that problem or that opportunity. It's not a problem, an opportunity right now.
Absolutely. Well, I just think y'all just need to bring back WKRP. I know some of y'all folks is not going to catch that at all.
So many folks are going to be like, what?
All right. What is WKRP? If you are born in the 80s, the 70s and the 80s, you know exactly what WKRP is. So
in the late 1900s, by the way, I was in another political event, and there was a Gen Z presenter, and she's amazing. So I don't want to tease her too much, but she was talking about politics in the late 1900s.
Right.
And I thought about that for a second. And I said, you mean like 1995?
Well, Jonathan, it's even worse. My daughter told me, Mom, you was born in the 1900s. I was like, oh, well, yeah. With her 2003 self. I mean, yes, I was born in the 1900s. Okay. Thank you for making me feel ancient. So, yes. So, again, if anyone has any questions, we have touched on the future of Ohio, the future of Cincinnati, and we've talked about the economy a little bit. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or request up, and I'm sure Jonathan would love to answer your questions for you. This is your opportunity to get some answers from the good people running for your state. Okay. So, Jonathan, we're going to go into my first rapid fire. And this one is kind of politically inclined. So, my first question, education funding. Should we prioritize teachers or technology?
Teachers. Teachers.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Sometimes we do have to make those tough decisions of what's the priority, because we're not going to have all the money, for everything at all at once. You got to prioritize. So you prioritizing teachers' pay and
Yeah, because and I don't think I might be wrong, but I don't know that teacher or that schools are hurt. There's specific technology grants that already exist. I mean, I teach I used to teach marching band on the side, and we got iPads to teach with because if the school didn't if they didn't buy the iPads, they would lose that funding match the next year. So they're like, here's an iPad, and it's like, I don't want this. Like, why do I have an iPad?
What instrument you play?
Tuba.
Okay, so you look like a tuba guy. Free lunch for everyone? You support?
Everyone.
Okay. All grades?
Yeah.
Okay. Should there be term limits?
Yes. And not just because I think so, but because Ohio thinks so. This is a 76% issue. So part of the job as a representative is to represent what the people want.
Absolutely. Do you support or oppose rent control?
Support.
Okay. Now, we already talked about what you thought Ohio's minimum wage should be. Are there any taxes you think should be raised?
Well, yeah. I mean, billionaires shouldn't exist. But here's what I say about that conversation. I think, again, I'm willing to compromise on so much. I will just settle for corporations and the wealthy to pay their fair share now. Like, let's just get there. I don't need to raise your taxes. You just pay what you're supposed to pay, and we're good. We're good. Let's just do that.
Now, let's say you are presented a bill. A bill is introduced in the House that gives each district $10 million for education funding. However, in this same bill, they would like to put 10 Commandments in the schools, displayed in the schools. Are you a yay or nay on that bill?
Oh my! My major was ethics, so this is such an ethic question because that's a lot of money. I would have to say nay. I would have to say nay, and I will fight for the money another day.
Good answer. Good answer. What is the biggest issue facing your district, your community right now?
It's affordability and property taxes and school funding.
All of that at once.
It's all related to school funding model, the broken school funding model. But I mean, I've been to town halls in the reddest areas, and they are not happy. They are not happy because of the school funding cuts.
Which brings me to my next question. Who should be in charge of the education in America? Should it be the federal government, or should it be still left to the states?
States. Could you imagine if this administration was in charge of everything?
Okay, let's pretend that this administration is. Let's pretend it's a very functioning, level-headed administration. Should the federal government be in charge of our? I don't want to say curriculum. It's not the curriculum, but just the way school functions, or the levels in which what they should be teaching, what standards should be met, those types of things. Or should we just leave it to the states?
We should leave it to the states. That's a fool me once scenario. I mean, we could have the best administration come in, then what happens? Because you're giving the same power to the next person, whoever that is. So,
last question. One word that describes your leadership style.
Joy.
Joy. You lead with joy?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. We fail with joy. We succeed with joy. In all things, joy.
Perfect. Now, let's talk a little bit about constitutional rights. Okay? As we know, a lot of those are being challenged right now. The First Amendment protects freedom of speech, religion, and assembly. How should Ohio balance these protections when public safety concerns arise, particularly given that over 60% of Americans believe free speech is under threat?
Um,
How can Ohio make sure that rights are not being violated?
that is such an interesting question because I mean, here in the Cincinnati area, we've had neo Nazis come in and demonstrate, and it created their free right, whatever, created a dangerous situation. Um, and so there's a lot of discussion about that, because if you say something hateful, it can create a dangerous situation. So if we are to say that your rights cannot infringe on somebody else, that's a real conversation we need to have. We also need to talk about the First Amendment when it comes to social media and the algorithm. This might be radical. I have no idea. I really haven't talked to a lot of people about this. The algorithm should not be protected by the First Amendment,
Hmm.
because
Okay.
it's our speech is imperfect. The goal of algorithms is perfect, is to curate something that is perfect, and that is not free speech. That is,
Particularly since, like, something to your point, you can't say DIE, but how do I talk about coloring my hair or the stuff we use without saying that word? So, like you said, our language is imperfect, but the algorithm expects perfection.
yeah.
That. So, what are we doing with the algorithm? Like, are we trying to you think laws should be passed to prevent social medias from using algorithms, or
Is that so crazy?
no?
I mean, like let's just imagine a world without algorithms again. Like let's just imagine a world where social media still existed, but I was not being force fed what I want to see and what makes me mad. Like you can still have, like, there's still free speech in all of that. There's still the ability to get up there and be mad at Joe Biden, to be mad at Donald Trump, but there isn't this algorithm behind you. So would it be so crazy to imagine a world where we're like, that really messed up society? Maybe let's not do that.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about the Second Amendment. You are from Ohio, okay? And the Second Amendment debate continues nationally, with Ohio reporting thousands of firearm, and we have to say that word because we can't say GUN, firearm related incidents annually. What constitutional framework do you plan to use to determine where regulation is appropriate without infringing on individual rights?
Yeah, so I believe in the Second Amendment. I was born and raised. I wasn't born a hunter. That's kind of weird. I was raised hunting in Northwest Ohio, and so I believe that you should have a right to have arms. I don't think you have a right to have killing machines
We can't
in
say
the
that word
form.
either.
Oh,
We
sorry.
say unaliving.
Unalivened machines that go
Yes.
pew pew really fast and a lot. We already have regulations that people, like, you cannot own the
The
I don't know if
big
I can
one.
say it, the boom.
Yes.
Like you can't just own a tank. Like we've already made laws and rules around this, but people don't want to acknowledge that. So it's just, where is that limit? And my limit is with the many pew pews. The pew pews a lot.
So you think that there should be a limit to how many one household can have, or the ones that are automatic?
I would just go with the ones that are automatic.
Okay.
Yeah. Because then you're getting into there's different reasons for having different hunting
Mm-hmm.
tools. Hunting a hog is different than hunting a squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
And also, there are good faith collectors, and I don't want to infringe on their rights and like that collect historical
What
pew-pews.
What do you think about giving tax incentives to those who maybe take a course or buys a safe? Like if they could show that on their tax returns that they have participated in a pew pew safety course, or they have purchased a safe to lock those weapons up, and they can get a tax incentive to that. What you think about that?
I don't know that it's necessary if you regulate it appropriately. I mean,
Okay.
why do I need to? Um, let's say if we make laws that if you have a house with children in it, that it has like it is a law that it is locked up and only the adult has fingerprint access. Um, I don't, which I believe in. I mean that if you live in a house with teenagers and you have a weapon, pew
Mhm.
pew, that the odds of that youth having access shoots way up. That's ironic, and I should have used that word. Oh, this is hard.
That's why I said
But
that's the imperfectness of our language.
yeah. The perfect algorithm will demonetize or whatever because of it. Uh, and we're back. I just think that there are more common sense laws that need to be enacted, and um, if I'm not getting tax incentives for not speeding, I don't think that we need to give tax incentives for other people just following the law.
But you might get some insurance incentive. Your insurance company said if you don't get a speeding ticket within a certain
That's
amount of
what they
time.
say. I have never in my life gotten a
I
ticket,
haven't
and
either.
I don't think I'm getting any kickbacks.
Okay, so Hamilton County is about 25% black, and roughly 63% white, reflecting significant racial diversity. Okay, how do constitutional equal protection principles guide your approach to policing, sentencing reform, or voting access in a diverse district like District 29?
So this is one of those interesting scenarios where we could get into the nitty gritty of policy, but this is a hard issue. This is a value issue, and there is a moral chasm that we need to bridge this gap some way or another. As I said, I mean, I came to this calling in a meeting that was about reversing diversity, equity, inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is very central to who I am, not as a politician, but like a core part of who I am. And I this is an education issue because we're not teaching civil rights the way we used to. Well, maybe we shouldn't, because when I was going through high school, you would have thought that racism died in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's literally that's how it was presented to us. Like, we did the thing, and now nobody's racist ever again.
Right.
And that's just not how. I mean,
And that idea got even bigger in 2006 when we
yeah,
elected the first black president.
yeah. We thought we did the thing. We did not do the thing. We did not do the thing. And it blows my mind that people don't think that systematic racism can possibly still exist when there are still people alive that were alive in segregation. We are still within a generation of segregation.
Correct.
So everybody that was alive back then who was raised, I mean, maybe they weren't quite old enough to know why they were yelling at their classmate, other than that's how they were raised.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we're still within a generation. Like, it was not that far long ago. So yes, I still believe systematic racism exists, and yes, I do believe that we should have legislative safeguards to create an equitable society. Not equal, because that's what that's, I guess, technically what we have now is equal laws for everybody, but it is not equitable. Not everybody's starting in the same place. Not everybody's starting in the same zip code. So I still believe in equity.
Correct. Now, what do you say to if someone said, if we don't teach the children today that white folks had a superiority over black folks, and that the children of this, I believe, is Alpha generation, or the after Z, the generation after Z, that they're not taught that there was some sort of hierarchy. There was no, no one was down here. If that just isn't taught, wouldn't they grow up in a society that was everyone was the same?
I believe they would. There's still a lived experience. I mean, they're still going to grow up and see who's the CEOs of all the companies, and they're like, you can still see it. Would it be potentially harder for them to see how racism is still intertwined in our society? Maybe it might take somebody to be like, hey, that's still happening. But teaching is not the same. Like, I mean, you can teach people really bad values. Look at the evangelical Christian church.
True.
We don't want people teaching bad values, because the real world exists, and we need to raise kids on the truth.
Yeah, you teach them the truth and then tell them, so we don't want to do that no more, right? Okay.
And tell your friends not to do it.
And tell your friends. All right. Again, just want to remind everyone, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or request up to ask any questions about anything going on, anything happening in the country, in Ohio. You can request up. But we want to talk about infrastructure. Now, you were just speaking about the bridge coming, right? Do you do you think that new technology, a lot of states, or a lot of talk has been about getting like what's like called a bullet train or something to that effect? I know that could be really helpful in Ohio, since you all are connected to so many other states, to get people to those other states, to other cities like Cincinnati, to Columbus, to Cleveland. That type of fast transportation could be really, really helpful for the economy of all the cities in Ohio. Do you think that can be done with just state funding, or would you need funding from the federal for that? Like, whose responsibility is it to bring this modern technology to your state?
I would say the majority should be state funded, but I don't. There's almost no projects that exist without some sort of hybrid approach. So I wouldn't know. I can be like 15% from the government, from the federal government. But I can see that it should be majority state, considering that most of the economic development would probably stay in the state. So
why do you think that the state hasn't started producing said, modern technology, modern transportation?
Because it's expensive. It's expensive, and they got deals with energy companies they got to pay for. So
okay,
it is legitimately massively expensive but there is a current project that is in the works to hopefully connect the three C's. We call them the three C's in Ohio, which is Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Columbus. And I support that. And I think that there is enough energy that we can get there with that project. But it does come down to resources, and it's incredibly expensive.
Well, the Ohio's biennial state budget exceeds 80 billion. So what percentage of future capital improvement funds should be allocated towards things like this, or housing stability, neighborhood revitalization, things like that? What percentage of, this funding, this budget should go to that? Like, where is it going now? What is this $80 billion budget? What is it focusing on now? And when you get in there, what do you think you are going to push for it to focus on?
Yeah, so that's a fascinating question, because I once tried to read the budget. And it is something, what is it, like 400 pages, something like that? It's ridiculous how long the budget is. So my eyes glazed over about 3 days into reading it. But I mean, so that's to say that I don't know where all the percentages lie specifically. Mm-hmm. But of that $80 billion budget, $2 billion is going towards private schools through the form of school choice. Mm-hmm. And that can't happen. Now, I want to be clear that I'm not per se against private education.
Right.
A lot of our politics pit neighbor against neighbor, and I'm not here to do that.
Right.
But it has been a long-held social contract that if you want your kids to be in private education, you got to pay for it. And we have believed that as a society up until a few years ago. And it blows my mind how many fiscal conservatives are now rah-rahing for private education getting their tax dollars. The flip is wild. I can't even begin to understand it. Like, and
I don't even recognize this Republican Party anymore. I don't.
Yeah, and I really don't want to make it like a vote, like a voter versus voter thing. But I like if somebody can explain that one to me, like let's have coffee. And so we can't talk about how we believe our teachers are failing and that our public schools are crumbling and doing terribly, and then continue to not just defund that public education, but to fund to the amount of $2 billion private education. It can't happen. It like, I don't even know what else to say. That cannot happen.
True. So when you get there, what are you pushing for? Give me an infrastructure issue that you are going to push for when you get into the State House.
So the completion of the bridge and the rail that connects the big three is genuinely a big priority of mine. Besides those two things, when we think of typical infrastructure, housing and increasing the stock of housing is actually probably number one on my list. Mm-hmm. And by increasing stock, I mean that we need to increase all housing stock, but we have to cap corporate ownership of housing, which increases the cost of the housing that we do have now. But we have to build affordable units. And in order to do that, though, we have to get out of our own way. So I've done a lot of work around affordable housing in the Cincinnati area. And there are several bad faith developers in the area. Mm-hmm. But there are opportunities where, if we can remove the red tape, there is so much bureaucracy and red tape around. Even if you were a developer interested in building affordable housing. It's very expensive. It's a math problem. It doesn't work out. And so we have to incentivize developers to build it, but not just incentives with tax abatements and whatnot, but like literally the codes themselves have to be revised, because we just need affordable housing. We don't need affordable housing that makes sure that there's outlets every 4 feet. Like, all of that takes time. All of that is red tape. And I mean, you talk about outlets, you talk about how many doors or windows can be on one side of the building. All of that is stuff that we don't even think about, right? Like, I would never think about how many windows are allowed on one side of the building. But it increases how long it takes and increases expenses. I want good quality affordable housing, but there's a lot of red tape we can reduce to make it more attractive to build.
Yeah, it's something that, like I said, it's nothing I ever thought about. The bare minimum is make sure there's a window in. If it's to be considered a room, there must be a window. That's common sense. But you get the amount of buildings on I never heard of that. Okay. Yeah. So, Jonathan, we're going to do my second rapid fire. And this was just a little fun. We got some either or questions to see, just dig a little deeper into your brain and see how Jonathan ticks. So, would you rather text or call?
Text.
Okay. If you could only choose one, are you having breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
For that dinner, would you rather burgers or tacos?
Tacos to make my wife happy.
Look at you. Happy wife, happy life. Also, are you having fries or onion rings?
Onion rings.
Of course, you are onion ring. Sports car or pickup?
1972 Datsun 240Z. Sports car.
That's a sports car. For dessert, are you having ice cream or sherbet?
Oh, you can't do that to me. Next, skip.
No. Ice cream or sherbet?
There's more variety in ice cream. I'll go ice cream.
Okay. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Milk chocolate, white chocolate.
Love white chocolate. Love white chocolate. Would you rather watch the movie at home or in a theater?
Theater.
Okay. Now, Cincinnati chili, is that a yes or no for you?
Skyline chili specifically is a yes.
Skyline, is that a particular place or that's a type of chili?
Yeah. So there's several, but like the big ones are Gold Star and Skyline. Okay. And I love Skyline. Gold Star has good double deckers, but the chili is not good.
Are you a pierogi man or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, for something sweet, are you going to go for the Pawpaws or the Buckeyes?
Buckeyes.
Okay. Last and most important question. Bengals or Browns?
The Eagles.
Not the Eagles. You lost your candidacy just like that. He's not even a faithful Ohioan. What?
I care about I'm not from either Cleveland or Cincinnati originally, and I care too much about my health. I see what my friends go through, and I pray for them. I pray for these people.
I know. Neither one of them are doing very well. I don't think either has a ring. I'm sorry, Ohio. Y'all really just need to give up football. You really do. I'm just saying. As a Commander fan myself, but okay.
Okay, all right.
So boo to your egos.
Hey, we can still go to a game.
Okay, yes. All right, so the last topic I'm going to jump into is the justice system. Okay, so Ohio spends, and we might have touched on this a little bit, but we're going to go a little deeper. Ohio spends billions annually on corrections. Would you support, reallocating even 5% of corrections spending towards diversion programs, addiction treatment, or workforce reentry incentives in Hamilton County?
Can I only divert 5%?
As it says at least 5%.
Oh, at least 5%, because
Yes.
it should be more. It should be more, because our prison system is itself criminal, especially when we get into private prisons. Can I share like a brief story?
Yes.
Just a quick one.
Please.
So the first time I ever learned that I could use my faith as a public witness was when I was going through seminary. So this was 2014. I represented my seminary at the Kentucky Council of Churches. And at that Kentucky Council of Churches, there was two people who had been incarcerated, and I forget for how long, for a murder that DNA testing proved that they did not commit.
Okay.
And the Commonwealth, because I was living in Kentucky at that time, the Commonwealth just kicked them, opened the bars and said, have a good life. There were no reparations. There was no accountability. There was nothing. And they had been in prison for long enough where reintroduction is not easy, even if you are now found innocent. And so the president of that Kentucky Council of Churches, we talked about it for a little while, and he said, well, I guess we're just going to have to write a letter to the governor about this. And now I'm like, a letter is the least you can do. But it was the first time I ever thought, we can do that. Like we can do that. And it was based off of how our criminal justice system treats people, treats children of God. To think that after decades in prison, there isn't even so much like, we will help you find a job. Like there wasn't anything. So there's just background there that touches me a little bit on this one, because it really was informational for this TikTok that we're doing right now kind of started in that room. So we have to get rid of private prisons.
Now, how are you going to convince your Republican colleagues of this?
You're either on the train or you're not. This is not one I'm negotiating. This is I will knock on as many doors to get a citizen-led ballot initiative as necessary for this one.
Okay.
Private prisons, by definition, make money off of people being incarcerated.
Yeah.
By definition, their incentive is that they need people in their prisons.
Correct.
That is inherently a broken, immoral, and sinful situation. Furthermore, if we can just start here, I think they call it the strike system, where if you are in prison and you got mad, so you threw your plate tray against the wall, they'll give you a strike, and so many strikes they can increase your prison sentence. And so they nitpick and find this little reason, this little thing to give you a strike, because their incentive is to keep you there longer. They don't make money if you're not in there. And so they will find every reason, because the system is set up that way. So this one, there is no compromise for me on this one. Private prisons have got to go.
Right. So the answer to that is to not get there in the first place. So what policies are you going to introduce for prevention? Because right now the poverty rates in portions of Cincinnati exceed 20%. So we know that's one of the root causes of crime is poverty. So what are we going to do to reduce people committing crimes?
Besides fixing the public education funding model,
Say it again, right?
it's related in everything. So we have to change the budget model itself, and I'm not sure how it actually breaks up in the state level, but I advocated in City Hall here in Cincinnati years ago. It must have been 2021, maybe it might have been 2020, because I remember the masks very clearly. And what we were advocating for was the fact that the police department budget in Cincinnati was something like $290 million. Mm-hmm. The community services budget was $8 million or $6 million. In what world you can be the most pro cop person if you care about, if you are a cop, if you have family that are cops, if you have friends that are cops and you care about their safety? In what world do we live in where you look at that disparity and not realize that we are creating I don't know how to say that word.
Grenades? You can say grenades.
I can say grenade. I can say grenades?
I can say grenades.
Okay, apparently on TikTok I can say that, but not anything else.
That the algorithm looks for. I don't know.
That's wild. Okay, so the point being is that, like, even if you are the most pro-police person out there, you are creating a dangerous situation for their lives, let alone the lives of citizens who have to grow up in this kind of society. So we have to fix the budgeting model and bring the balance. We got to find the balance, as I presented that we can build bridges on this. It is not hard to go to your police officer friends and say, like, what if we gave a few million back, increased parks, increased services for single moms, or so that their kids have something to do, or whatever it is. The funding model is flipped completely upside down. And we need to find a way to balance that first and foremost, because we're not creating a society where kids are finding hope. We're creating societies where childcare is so expensive that it's almost better not to work. It is better not to work in a lot, like, depending on your zip code and where you are at in life, and all of that is a fundamentally flawed budget from the state level and local municipalities, frankly. But
yeah, well, Pastor Jonathan, we got about 9 minutes left, so I'm gonna get started on my closing questions. And the first one I want to ask, as a white man in Ohio. Okay, as we said, your district is about 63% white and about 25% black. How do you convince the black folks that you're not that typical Democrat, the white savior coming to save them? Okay, and convince the white folks, these Republicans in your district, and convince them that you're not this radical woke left liberal. This is where you are right now. This is your conundrum in District 29 of Ohio. Okay, so I need you to think about that and give me your best pitch that will work for both sides.
This is a question I have as a pastor, all the time. How do you ask the oppressor to sit with the oppressed in the pews and call it peace. Like, who are we really building bridges to? I the buzzword affordability, staying focused, laser focus on affordability, for one. But
everyone likes that.
When it comes to the Black community, this is where showing up like years ago matters. Mm-hmm. Like I am not swooping in on a horse here. The folks in Cincinnati know me. I've been there. I've been fighting for them. I've been advocating for a while now. Mm-hmm. Right. And so, and beyond that, I'm not here to convince anybody. If it takes you not voting for me and then I'll show you, bless you. That is your right. And you've earned it through a lifetime of being systematically oppressed. Like, you do not owe me anything. So if me showing you is the only way, whoa, what a weird time.
As Miss Bianca sent you a gift.
Oh man, I was being serious.
I think she liked your answer.
There's that. As far as the white side of things and convincing people I'm not a radical leftist. I consider myself more of a populist. So I talk about things that affect the most amount of people. It's the reason, frankly, why there are MAGA supporters who like Bernie Sanders, mm-hmm. who can get behind Bernie Sanders, and even Zoran Mamdani. Mm-hmm. It is because you are focused on helping the most people that you can. With that being said, what I don't want to see happening in the Democratic Party is that we abandon marginalized people because it's not convenient for this election cycle, because we are just putting working class folks on a pendulum with marginalized folks, and just based off of what's politically convenient. Mm-hmm. We have to win the arguments outright. We have to win the arguments outright, and that happens when you are always laser. I think it's Andy Bashir who talks about 80% of your time you focus on things that matter to everybody. 20% of the time, let's talk about that other stuff, right? And so the way I talk about it with people who are on the other side of the quote unquote aisle from me is, I will talk about LGBTQIA+ issues. I will talk about diversity and equity. I will talk about all of those things as much as your legislators make me. Because the truth of the matter is that it is the Republican Party in Ohio who has spent not just countless hours with bathroom ban bills, but to bring experts in. All that costs not money. They're mm-hmm. literally costing taxpayers millions of dollars every time they want to pass a bathroom bill.
To be discriminatory.
And yes, and every time we're doing that, we're not talking about what? Affordability and kitchen table issues. Correct. But if they make me talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. But I'm unlike quote unquote politicians. I'm going to win that argument.
Absolutely.
I'm 10 toes down.
All right. So last question. If you could send one message, well, I kind of just did that. As someone with your background in ministry and ethics, how do you maintain principled decision making when party leadership pressures you to vote a certain way?
I've got a God to report to, y'all. I've got a God to report to, and I've got a church to report to. I'm not leaving the pulpit. We've talked about this as a congregation. I'm not leaving pastoral ministry. And so if I go sideways, not only am I a crook, But also I just literally lost everything in my life.
Yeah.
If I were to backtrack and to go off the rails, I couldn't even tell you what that would cost me.
Right. Okay, understood. I want to see the pets. They over there. I hear them shaking. I hear them. They're saying they want to get in on this conversation. We love animals around here. What's their names?
Okay, so we've got Ray. Come here. The big one is Ray. Come here. Up.
Oh,
So
Ray.
so this is
Oh,
the
look at Ray
sweetheart.
give a hug.
She literally gives hugs. Like, this is actually what's happening right now. She's so
Hi,
excited that she got called over. She is not that old, even though she's getting more white, but she's not that old. She is supposedly a English Mastiff Poodle mix.
Ray. Okay.
So we rescued her because the kennel didn't think that she turned out right. That they're how does this not turn? This is a gorgeous dog.
Miss
Get out of here.
Ray. How are you, Miss
Yeah,
Ray? Oh my goodness,
yeah.
yes, she's gorgeous. And
Okay,
then who else we have?
and then we
Oh
have
look. Oh, that
this is you can find on TikTok Coco the Underbite Frenchie.
Coco say, "Where's my love?" Hi, Coco.
She is a menace to society.
She said, "Don't talk about me like that."
We rescue all of our animals, but this one, my wife was like, "Can I have one?" And I said, "Okay, we'll get one."
Okay.
And then we have Yoda, who's an old man who doesn't like to be picked up, or else I would show you.
Okay.
And he's a poodle Chihuahua mix, and
Little
he
Chihuahua mix.
he was a street dog and like packed up and everything. It was a scary situation. And this street dog now will not sleep without a pillow. So tough. So tough.
You done made him bougie.
Yeah. And then we
He's
also
like,
have
"Oh,
a cat and we
this is
have a
life."
snake.
And you have a
Yeah.
what?
We have a cat and a snake.
A cat? What kind of snake? It's a python?
It is a western hognose snake. If they're cute. They're noodles. They actually, because they have a shovel nose, because they burrow,
Oh.
so their snouts turned up, and it makes them look like they're smiling. And these things can't. They're not even real either. Like, before they would ever bite you, they fake hiss. Well, I guess it's really hiss, but they hood up like they're a cobra. They think they're the big mean cobras,
Oh,
and then
yeah,
they
okay.
fake strike. They don't even bite. They just like hit you. And then, if that doesn't work, they will roll over, open their mouth, play dead, and stick their tongue out.
Get out. I was thinking, you learn something new every day. Did not know there was fake snakes, fake dangerous snakes, right?
Yeah.
And you said
Yeah.
you have a cat. The cats are probably my favorite animal, so love cats.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'm surprised that Siaka didn't send you another gift, because that's our residential animal keeper there. She has guinea pigs, rabbits. I think she has some type of farm with horses and goats, and she's our residential animal lover. So, yeah.
I lost them at snakes, apparently, so.
You lost them as snakes. Everybody that is not a snake fan. I don't mind them so much. Chinchillas. Yes, she has chinchillas.
Nice.
So we love some animals around here. Jonathan, this has been an absolute wonderful conversation. I wish you all the luck in Ohio. My sister currently lives there, but she's in the Cleveland area, so unfortunately she can't vote for you. But I know if she knows some people in Cincinnati, I'm gonna let her know. They need to look out for Jonathan. He's trying to do some things.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
keep believing, keep having your faith. What God has for you is for you. So you do your part, he'll do his, right?
Thank you. Amen. Yeah.
Thank you. Now let everybody know how they can find you, how they can support you, all your medias, and donate to you.
Yeah, so website is votebradner.com. There you can find how to donate as well as to volunteer. We've got a volunteer kickoff coming up on the 29th. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. If you just look for Vote Bradner, you'll find me. I'm pretty active on all of the socials. So I would love to see you all over there. And even if you can't vote for me with your vote, you can vote for me with some dollars.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. All right. Thank you. Now, let me tell you and everyone else out here what we have coming up next. Okay. So right after this, in about 30 minutes, we're going to have another town hall this evening with a young lady, or I'm going to call her a young lady who is running for U.S. Senate out of Tennessee. So your neighbors. I think Tennessee don't touch Ohio. Do Tennessee touch Ohio? I don't know.
No, Kentucky's in between.
Kentucky touches Ohio, but not Tennessee. Yeah. And then I think Tennessee touches Kentucky. So yes, okay. But yes, we have one with Miss Diane at 9:00 coming right up. Again, she is running for a Senate seat, U.S. Senate seat in Tennessee. So y'all come on back and listen to Miss Diana. We also do a roundtable every other Sunday where we have candidates like yourself come back. And, we sit around, talk about some of the major issues that the United States are dealing with, and get your thoughts on it. You bounce some ideas off of you, give some ideas, take some ideas. It's a great conversation. It's actually one of my favorite things we do here at OVC. I get to talk to multiple candidates and see if everybody is on the same page, okay? Because that's the only way we're going to win. We all got to be on the same page. So I want to invite you to our next one, which is March 29th. So keep an eye on your emails for that. And lastly, I want to let anyone out there know if you would like to be a part of our vote counts and do what I'm doing, modding, talking to the candidates, helping with the cause, being part of the solution, just DM us. We don't bite. We welcome everyone. So if you know anybody, Jonathan, that you think would be good at asking the candidates the hard questions, tell them to check us out. DM us. We give a little short training. We would do a live with them so that you don't just get thrown out there to do this by yourself. You have to do one with the people that's already doing it, and you could be a part of the solution. So I thank you. I thank everyone else for coming in today and sitting with us, listening to your ideas, your thoughts, and hopefully they got the answers they need. Our vote counts. That's me. That's us. I appreciate all the team, but we are a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure that every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we are building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. So make sure you continue to join us because your vote is your power. See y'all in a few minutes. Thank you, Johnny.